On Friday night of tournament week, it's traditional to crown the queen of this great event. Bob Starr is standing by to introduce this young lady as well as the championship cheerleading team.
The group of young ladies you're about to meet make up the Elmhurst York cheerleading team, which was voted the champions of this year's state tournament. So we'll talk with them and then talk to their captains who are holding the trophy. You're who?
I'm Nancy Pyle.
How long have you been a varsity cheerleader, Nancy?
This is my first year.
And you're,
I'm a junior at York.
You're a junior. Mm-hmm. How about you?
I'm Gail Andrews. I'm a senior. I've been on the squad 4 years. This is 2 years on varsity.
And?
Jan Heiser. I'm a senior also, and I've been a varsity cheerleader for 2 years.
And you?
Sandy Hope. I'm a junior, and it's my first year on varsity.
And how about you?
Sue Dawson. I'm a junior, and this is my first year on varsity.
A little disappointed the first varsity year and your team gets beat?
Well, I'm glad we came down.
Good, good. How about you?
I'm Mary Figueroa. I'm a senior, and this is my second year on varsity.
And you're the shortest one in the group, right?
Right.
Now let's talk to the captains. These two young ladies here. They look like sisters. They're not, but they look like sisters. Who are you?
I'm Charlotte Kleckner. I'm 18. This is my second year on varsity.
And?
I'm Chris Jensen. I'm also 18, and this is my second year, too.
During the course of my play-by-play yesterday of their game, we caught them on one of their cheers, so we'd like for you to see that now, and you'll hear some of the play-by-play in the background.
Lost to Arlington Heights by 6 points, and then they reeled off 13 straight wins before losing their third game of the season to Lions. Pekin, on the other hand, lost both of their losses to the same ball club, Peoria, once by 7 points, once by 5 points, but defeated that same Peoria ball club 56-50 in the sectional finals.
Even though your team lost, it must make you feel a little bit better that you did win a trophy down there as a cheerleading team, didn't it?
Tremendously. It's very nice.
Do you get a little nervous performing in front of that big crowd?
Oh, after a while I get used to it, but This crowd was so huge, it was a little nerve-wracking.
Ladies, thank you so much, and congratulations to all of you, and congratulations to your team. They're a fine group. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Now, yesterday evening, they selected the queen for this tournament, and here she is, Cheryl Muller of Rockford West High School. And I know you were surprised last night.
Sure was.
How'd you get to be a queen candidate in the first place, Cheryl?
The basketball team and the cheerleaders nominated 3 girls from the school, and then the whole school voted.
Have you ever been a queen candidate before in anything?
No. As a matter of fact, no.
You got a pretty good track record. You won your first time out.
Thank you.
How did it feel last night when they announced your name?
Oh, tremendous. I was so excited. Just tremendous.
Do you happen to date any of the athletes on this basketball team of yours, the undefeated Rockford West ball
No,
team?
as a matter of fact, I
You
don't. No.
But you're friends with some of them. Evidently,
sure.
you're friendly with them because
Yes.
they wouldn't have selected you in the first place, I suppose.
Yes, we're real good friends.
What are some of your activities in school?
Mostly music. I'm very interested in music. I'm in a cappella and madrigals, and I had the female lead in the musical, Music Man. And when the Buffalo Bills came to Rockford, I was the local girl that sang with the Buffalo Bills.
Very good, very good. Congratulations, Cheryl.
Thank you so much.
And I think you'll enjoy this, reigning as queen of the tournament for 1967.
Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you.
Now, to Tournament Central.
Thanks, Bob. Having seen those youngsters makes it a little easier to understand why the teams here in the Assembly Hall receive such tremendous support. Tournament Central has 2 more special features for you before it's time for the championship game to get underway. We'll be talking with the man in charge of the University Police. We'll also be highlighting the 2 teams in contention for the championship. Whenever nature plays rough, all the associated companies of the Bell system work extra hard to keep your phone service uninterrupted.
Florida hurricane. Tornado in Illinois. Floods in the Northwest. Disasters like these can knock out telephone service. It must be restored fast. Here in Chicago, Western Electric people respond to meet such emergencies because Western Electric's job in the Bell system is to provide needed equipment to the Bell telephone companies. And extra equipment is needed now. Here and throughout the nation, Western Electric people work hard to help keep your phone working in all kinds of weather. Because we share with Illinois Bell a responsibility for your dependable phone service. You see, we're with them in the Bell system.
We're in Tournament Central at Champaign-Urbana, where we're between games in this championship high school basketball tournament. Now Jim Boland has a special guest he'd like to introduce. Jim?
Thank you, Bob. I'd like to introduce Joe Blaze, who is supervisor of security and traffic here at the University of Illinois. And, Joe, I imagine your job really gets tough about this time of year.
Jim, it really does. It's a lot of fun because I've been at these state tournaments now for well over 20 years, and there's always something to break the monotony, so to speak, some little thing that happens almost every tournament.
There must be some funny little things that have happened over the years, Joe, when all of these students start pouring into Champaign. Could you relate a couple of these incidents for us?
There are several funny ones. You know, years ago we used to play in our little cracker box, Huff Gym. And, of course, the assembly hall here can take care of 15,000, 16,000 people. And Huff Gym was bursting out at the seams with 7,500. And, of course, high school basketball fans are, I think, the worst sort of people when it comes to watching their ball games. They've just got this hit. I recall several years ago, back in the middle 50s, when I was standing in one of the foyers at Huff Gym on the second floor, middle landing, and I saw a man leaning out the window, and, gee, he was having a lot of trouble. And I thought, well, I'd go over and help him. And I walked over to the window, and he was reaching over, pulling a lady up, very well-dressed, a middle-aged lady, and I asked him if I could help him, and he looked at me and recognized me, and he said, no, I think so. I didn't want her to fall too hard, and he let her back down on the ground. Really something, you just feel sorry for a poor gal like that, because she wanted so hard to see her ball game. But so far as I know, she didn't get in the mud.
They'll do almost anything to get inside the gymnasium and to see these ball games.
Oh, yes. The Huff Gym, of course, is bisected with tunnels and cubby holes up in the rafters, and it used to be standard practice after every ball game and before every ball game to really shake that place down just like it were Fort Knox. And you'd find not youngsters, as you might suspect, but old, gray-bearded, gray-headed men climbing around the rafters, hoping to conceal themselves so that when the doors open, they get in to see the ball game. Really something, Jim.
I imagine the traffic control here in Champaign is really something around the university, especially when we have so many people coming here. What problems do you come up with, and how do you solve it in your planning, Joe?
Well, actually, we, I think, like all universities of this sort, with a crowd like this, and all municipalities, we never will really solve it. We've worked over the years trying to better it each year, and each year we find something that we can do another year to help. And we are building some highways. The state has come in and built a few highways around here. Mm-hmm. We've got some bypasses, and we can get 16,000 people in and out pretty well. You know, we have a tremendous traffic plan for our football games, and we feel if we can handle 70,000, 16 shouldn't bother us too much.
I see. I wonder if you could quickly, Joe, pick for us your all-tournament team in about 30 seconds in all the years you've been here.
Oh, gee. Yes, I think so. Now, these will be fellows, I think, Jim, that have played well in this game. And I'd put Max Hooper of Mount Vernon, and I would put Dyke Edelman, I think, would have to be on my team from Centralia. Mm-hmm. George Wilson, the great Cassie Russell, and, of course, Tidwell of Heron, I think.
I see. Well, Joe Blaze, it's been awfully nice having you with us. Now back to Bob.
We're getting very close to the big game we've all been waiting for, the contest that will decide the 1967 champions. Jim Boland and I will be giving you last-minute highlights on the competing teams in just a minute. But first, here's a message about another telephone service designed for you.
What do the latest fashion designs have in common with the latest phone designs? Watch and see.
The phone of the future is already here with the look of tomorrow and the style of the year. Just lift the light handset and touch your finger to it. Phoning much easier this new way you do it. Convenient and lovely for you it was planned. It's the phone of the future in the palm of your hand.
Posing with a trimline phone really sold me on it. You can put it in the most convenient places, like here on the shelf. And with the dial and the receiver and the recall button, you can make several calls without hanging up. And look at the lovely lines. It's so easy to put the phone of the future in the palm of your hand. Just call your Illinois Bell Service representative.
Just a matter of minutes, we'll be getting underway in the 60th in our series of televised, 16th, I should say, in our series of televised championship games. So at this point, Jim and I will give you our comments on the teams that will meet in the final game. As a beginning point, we'll take a look at some videotape scenes we made this afternoon of the first semifinal game in which Pekin defeated Springfield 77-61. This opens the second half of play, but from here on in, you see how Pekin more or less went on to dominate this second half. This is Springfield, and Robish getting a rebound for 2 points as he went on to score 41. But Pekin came right back with a great deal of balanced scoring, and young Dave Martin, who picked up a great deal of slack for this Pekin ball club this afternoon in a tremendous effort. You'll see him come up for 2 along that baseline as he gets his own rebound and puts it in. And from there on, Pekin was never to be headed and went on to the win. In another moment, we'll have some videotape shots of the second semifinal game played this afternoon, in which Carbondale downed Rockford West 67-66 in overtime.
And that was a dandy, too, Bob. We have some overtime shots here. 64-65, Carbondale leading. We'll see Rockford go ahead with a shot by Glover. He comes on into the key, as you will see here, and dumps the shot in for Rockford, and this gave them the lead. At this point, Carbondale took the ball out of bounds, threw across the center line with 9 seconds remaining. By the time they called a timeout, there was 4 seconds left on the clock, and then it really got exciting in an overtime with Rockford in a 1-point lead. Here was the toss-in for Carbondale. Brassfield gets it, shoots, and scores at the buzzer, and Carbondale wins an overtime victory, 67-66, in the only overtime contest we've seen here at Champaign. And you can see what was going on the floor with the Terrier Ball Club and the cheerleaders just jumping up and down and having themselves a great time. And, of course, it's a great thrill to finally wind up in a championship game, and this happens to be the first time that Carbondale has ever had the opportunity. That's Mr. Brassfield. They were carrying off the floor there, and rightly so, and he scored the last 4 points in the ball game, including that winning basket.
Well, this should be a great ball game coming up. We're looking forward to it, Jim. It's about time for me to get out to game side for the opening lineups for the big game. And Jack will be joining me shortly to cover the play-by-play. Sometimes a communications blackout can be avoided by a simple phone call.
The sound you hear is an alarm in an Illinois Bell testing center. It means trouble. This time, trouble lies underground. This time, trouble is a telephone cable break. If it were a major break, thousands of telephone lines could be knocked out. Their job, find that break, then fix it fast.
This is one of the little-known jobs that Illinois Bell people work at day in and day out, so that your telephone will be ready to serve you whenever you lift the receiver.
The alarm is the starter's gun in a race against time. Repair shifts into high gear. Lines to essential services, hospitals, police, and fire departments can often be rerouted, while telephone people working in teams race the clock, searching for the break. In a matter of minutes, they've localized it. A call goes out to cable repairmen, giving them the general area of the break. Now it's up to one of them to find it quickly.
At the scene of the break, it's often found that someone has failed to call repair service before they began to dig. A free call would have prevented this accident.
When the break is found, a call goes out for cable splicers. Then, identifying and matching an incredible number of wires pair by pair, the splicers painstakingly put the cable back together. Quickly, telephone service returns to normal.
To weatherproof your telephone service and to help improve the appearance of our communities, Illinois Bell is burying more and more of its cable. We can make it weatherproof, but we need your help to make it dig-proof. Before you dig, call Illinois Bell's repair service. The number is in the front pages of your telephone directory. We'll be happy to come out and show you the location of our buried cable. Illinois Bell, people working to serve you.
It takes a real team effort to provide the best possible phone service. Every job counts. If you'd like to join the telephone team, call your local Illinois Bell business office. Have a job that counts. Now it's time to join Bob Starr at courtside for the opening lineups in the championship game.
Here at Gameside, this Bob Starr, along with Jack Greaves, getting set for this championship battle between Pekin and Carbondale. Jack Greaves, I think you remember a couple of years back in 1964 when Pekin came in here against almost the same type of club size-wise that Carbondale was put out when they played Cobden. And they were a little bit short-handed, so this should provide quite a challenge for the Chinks here this evening.
Well, this Carbondale team has the biggest front line of any team that was in the tournament. Bill Perkins at 6'9", Early Laster at 6'5", and L.C. Brassfield at 6'3". Incidentally, I understand that L.C. Brassfield is just that. No first name, just the initials. So I'd say if he's searching for a name, we ought to call him Last Chance after he put that thing through with 3 seconds to go this afternoon. And, Bob, that had to be one of the most thrilling games I have ever seen in any level of play.
Well, I know last year in that opening ball game, which you had, was a beaut, and I remarked afterward that Joe Wiley's shot for Belleville last year in the first game of the tournament down here came almost virtually from the same spot on the court and dropped through to give Belleville a win, and this young fella with pressure on put it up. It's going to be a tremendous ball game. Jack, do you have a theory at all on playing these two games so close together, how much it might take out of a ball club, say, like Carbondale?
Well, Carbondale plays such a terrific physical game that I doubt very much whether they're effective. They've got to be in great shape to play that pressing, really physical defense that they do. They are going at top speed as fast as the other team wants to go every minute of play. So apparently they're gifted with quick resurgence. They've got to be in tremendous condition. And since actually they played or watched the third place game, they've had a fair amount of rest. I don't think it's enough to do 150 push-ups, but I would say that Carbondale, after that near miss, probably is as sharp as either team. Pekin, which had a simpler chore, defeating Springfield 77-61, 16 points versus 1 point, no overtime versus overtime, may have a little more to fight up than does Carbondale. They had to come from behind in this tournament. They just eked this one out. They're so close to it now, and they've got to have poise in their ability to get the job done.
Well, Pekin has a history of carrying the ball game to you, and they'll go with you just as far as you want to go. And, of course, they will press you anywhere on the floor from the opening tip-off till the final horn. I think we're going to see a tremendous physical-type ball game, a lot of physical effort put forth.
And, of course, we should see a very expert game. The 8 teams that came in this tournament this year here at Champaign are as fine a group of 8 teams as I have ever seen, and I think we have really distilled to 2 tremendous championship contenders. It is almost unbelievable. These are youngsters, 16, 17, 18 years old. They have an athletic maturity far beyond their years. Captains are out in the court now. The officials tonight, incidentally, are Tom Alexander to the left, the slightly taller official, and Paul Blakeman. They'll be handling this critical contest.
Pekin is faced with another chore here tonight. These two fellas you see right there battling each other, Fred Miller, who's had such a fantastic career for Dottie Hawkins at Pekin, and Big Billy Perkins, 6'9", and Pekin faced again with the challenge of stopping a big man and 2 big men really in Peaches Laster underneath that bucket. So Barry Moran and Fred Miller have their work cut out for them. What a challenge.
Well, Fred Miller for Pekin has been a tremendous star. He has set a school career scoring record coming into this tournament with over 1,400 points in his career. The teams now are heading for the sidelines, and I think we're moments away from the opening lineups, Bob.
Carbondale will be in the dark uniforms again here. Pekin in the white. A lot of enthusiasm for this ball game here. Packed house, the one that they have been waiting for ever since, well, last November, I would imagine, when everything all started. They'll take a little more time to go out and loosen up. We have About 2.5 minutes to go before we'll get this ball game underway. We'll have the starting lineups for you. Jack goes out. Jack will have the play-by-play shortly following that. What shapes up as an exciting final ball game. We were talking earlier, Jack, about the amount of balance that these ball clubs have come under with. Particularly an outstanding example, I think, is Pekin's effort this afternoon, where they were faced with the challenge of stopping Robish. They did the best job I think they possibly could. They did everything they possibly could. And their big scorer, Brett Miller, who had averaged 16 points on the year, came up with only about 12 points on the day because he was busy trying to play some defense and prevent this big guy from scoring. But his part of the scoring seemed to be picked up by somebody else on the ball club. It was a good balanced attack.
Notably in outside shooting.
Right.
Pekin was just reining him in every time Robish would stuff one. Somebody popped 15 feet away, and they just maintained that scoring portion too.
I remember you remarking the other day about how hard you thought this Pekin group went to that bucket. When they got the ball, they went after the bucket and went hard to the bucket. They're a good, quick, agile ball club. You take a guy like Peaches Laster of Carbondale, who's large and agile, as we had talked earlier. There's going to be an aggressive basketball game played here, and both these clubs go to the bucket real well.
Pekin is warming up on the left as you look at the overall picture of this magnificent assembly hall, and now you get a little closer look at him. Number 20 is Dave Martin. He's been averaging 15.7, almost 16 points through the Sweet 16 level of this tournament play.
And now, starting lineups for this championship game. For the Carbondale Terriers, number 41, a guard, 6'3", senior, Bill Gilbert. Number 23, guard, 5'11", senior, Ken Lewis. Number 51, center, 6'9", senior, Billy Perkins. Number 53, forward, 6'5", senior, Early Peaches Laster. Number 15, forward, 6'3", senior, L.C. Glassfield. Coach, Carbondale Terriers, John Cherry. Now, the Pekin Chinks. Number 44, forward, 6'5", junior, Barry Moran. Number 20, forward, 6'3", senior, Dave Martin. Number 50, center, 6'4", senior, Fred Miller. Number 42, 6'1½", senior, Mike Freitinger. And number 32, 6'2½", junior, Doug Jones. The coach, the Pekin Chinks, Dawson Hawkins. Pekin breaks out from around Dawson Hawkins, and you see the Carbondale Ball Club coming from around John Cherry. The officials are all set to go. Billy Perkins steps in to jump for Fred Miller. For this championship game, here's your host, Jack Reed.
Tom Alexander to throw it up at center. And the tip is taken by Pekin. A driving layup goes through the hoop. As 2 points are recorded by Mark Freitinger. The basket counts. And a foul is called on Freitinger as he's called for charging after having shot the basket. So Pekin gets out to a 2-0 lead, but recorded a foul, and going to the free throw line is Ken Lewis, their 5'11" senior guard for Carbondale. One shot, and one is all he needs. 2-1. Pekin 2, Carbondale 1. Pekin with the ball. Feed in for Fred Miller, is picked away by Carbondale. This is Ken Lewis bringing the ball up the court. This is the big one. This for the state championship of 1967. And from the side, a two-pointer by Phil Gilbert. 3-2 now, Carbondale over Pekin. Mark Freidinger in the backcourt working with Doug Jones. Dave Martin whips it into the line. Fred Miller, his jump shot is in. Pekin has gone in now to a 4-3 lead. We're in the opening minutes of the game with Ken Lewis doing a little behind-the-back fancy work as he comes down the court. There's a high feed to Bill Perkins. 2 points for Perkins. And this game is seesawing at 5-4. And getting a rap on the head, apparently. Mark Freidinger comes over to the sidelines, and it looks like he may have a cut over the right eye. It's a timeout for Pekin. Mark Freidinger, 6'1", 185 pounds, carrying a 12-1 scoring average in the 3 games of the Sweet 16 level of tournament play. They don't want him out of there yet if they can help it. This telecast of the Illinois High School Association basketball tournament is being brought to you by the men and women of Illinois Bell Telephone. Rich Hawkins is coming in. Rich Hawkins is the son of Coach Dawson Hawkins and a very able substitute, although they give up a good bit on height. He's only 5'6". Barry Moran gets away from pressure. Rich Hawkins whips it into the corner. Doug Jones' shot is blocked. It's grabbed by Fred Miller, and he has 2 points. 6-5, and that's 4 points for Fred Miller. Carbondale now moving against the Pekin press. Pekin 6, Carbondale 5. And from the side, Phil Gilbert drills one. So this 1-point advantage keeps trading. One to the other. It's now 7-6 Carbondale. Ball belongs to Pekin. Dave Martin operating in the backcourt with Rich Hawkins. It goes into Doug Jones. He can't get loose and takes an extra step as he tries to feed to Fred Miller. Traveling call gives the ball to Carbondale. Rich Hawkins backing into Big Bill Perkins was a genuine study in contrast. Gilbert feeds to Perkins, and he drops it through. Now Carbondale edges out to a 3-point lead. It's 9-6. Little better than 5.5 minutes to play in the first quarter of this, the big one, the state championship of 1967. Fred Miller underneath tries to feed cross court. Has it popped away by Phil Gilbert. Still belongs to Pekin under their own basket. Miller from the side. Beautiful shot. Now it's 9-8, and that's 6 points for Fred Miller, who's averaged over 22 points in his previous 3 games in the finals of the state tournament. Carbondale with the ball. Phil Gilbert from the side. Ball is picked off in the air as it misses the rim by Miller for Pekin. Fred Miller for Pekin now. Out to the line. The bounce to Doug Jones. Feed to Miller underneath. And as he tries a looping layup, hoping to draw a foul if he couldn't get the basket, did succeed in doing exactly that. Number 53 is Peaches Laster. That's his first personal. Fred Miller with 6 points makes it 7. And the game is tied at 9-9. 4 minutes and 47 seconds left in the first quarter. Fred Miller at 6'4". Leading scorer in Pekin history. He gets that bat back. Gets it again, but he can't do much this time as Peaches Laster draws another foul. This time it was on Doug Jones, number 32 for Pekin. Pekin in the white uniforms. Carbondale wearing their black uniforms with white trim. Red and white trim. Ball game tied at 9 apiece as Doug Jones takes aim. Bill Perkins gets it for Carbondale. Now Ken Lewis brings it up the court. Pekin trying to screen so they can get that ball into the big men. But they're keeping pretty close track of towering Bill Perkins. And Pekin comes up with the ball as it's batted away. Pitch into the corner to Fred Miller. He's pretty well hemmed in, and his pass was partially blocked. That's how it wound up in the hands of Bill Perkins. So Carbondale has it once more with a tie ball game at 9-all, a little less than 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Bill Gilbert. And coming down with the rebound, Dave Martin. Little Hawkins pegs into the corner. Doug Jones feeds to Fred Miller. He's underneath, has the ball pushed aside by Peaches Laster. And as Perkins came down with the rebound, Fred Miller draws a foul. That's his first personal. Second team foul for Pekin. Score holding at 9-9. Pekin, 30 victories, only 2 defeats. Lost them both to Peoria Central, whom they beat when they got into tournament play. Carbondale, 29 victories, 2 defeats. Lost both theirs to Benton, whom they beat when they got to tournament play. Now it's 9-9 in this game. Perkins' shot is missed. L.C. Bracefield drills it. And the tie is broken at 11-9. That's 2 points for Bracefield, who made the biggest 2 points in history with 3 seconds to go to win the overtime game this afternoon. And he gets through there to bat that one away from Rich Hawkins. But it batted out of bounds, so it still belongs to Pekin. It's again. Pekin 30, Carbondale 21. The longest lead in the game, as Pekin has now moved out to a 9-point advantage. But we've learned from watching Carbondale that they are inclined to do their best when coming from behind. They've had to do it very much here in tournament play, and there is Bracefield dropping one in to make the margin 30-23 favor of Pekin. 8 points for Bracefield. And the swisher dropped in by Mark Freidinger. 32-23, 6 points for Freidinger. Now Carbondale trying to work that ball into the big man. And on the screen attempt, Wallace can't feed, he shoots. And here's a grab by Phil Gilbert, and as Gilbert went up to attempt the shot, Dave Martin reached over, held the ball long enough to have it called a jump ball. An official's timeout as Bill Perkins trots over to the bench. Indicated that he might be having a little difficulty with his glasses. He's trotting back into the locker room, and Early Laster is trotting onto the floor to replace him. Pekin 32, Carbondale 23. 1 minute and 4 seconds left in the first half. Freidinger and Martin working with it on the right side. Back to Dave Martin. It rolls away, and Bracefield gets it for Carbondale. Over to Wallace, back to Ken Lewis, and Carbondale brings it up the court. Bracefield goes, and it's rebounded as Martin takes it for Pekin. Into the corner, too long to Vucic. So Carbondale takes possession once again, and the Pekin press moves right down there with him. Phil Gilbert. Back to Ken Lewis, and the long throw gets it across the center line. Charging foul called against Phil Gilbert. That's his first foul. Offensive foul. Pekin will take it out of bounds with 14 seconds left in the first half. Pekin 32, Carbondale 23. Barry Moran almost reached around, and then the rebound is put home by Fred Miller to make it 34-23. 18 points for Fred Miller. And there's the gun. That's the end of the half. Pekin out in front, 34-23. An exciting first half featuring that deadly Pekin press. They kept the pressure on Carbondale throughout this first half. Carbondale, banking heavily on getting their big front line free, were unable to do it. During halftime, Bob Starr and Jim Boland have a series of very interesting interviews lined up for you. That'll come immediately following my summary of the first half of the championship game. When you don't get what you're paying for, you want your money back. Here's what to do if you get a wrong number.
Long distance, may I help you, please?
Yes, operator. I just dialed a wrong number on a long-distance call.
I'm sorry, I'll cancel the charge. What number were you calling, please?
Whether it's your finger that slips or our equipment, we don't want you to pay for a wrong number.
To make the call, please?
Remember, if you were dialing long distance, call the long distance operator and tell her you reached a wrong number. If you called on your home phone, there will be no charge for the wrong number on your bill. If you called from a public phone, we'll connect you with the correct number or arrange to mail a refund.
Hello? Is this area code 212-555-3456?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, operator.
You're welcome.
Just tell the long-distance operator you got a wrong number and leave the rest to her. She'll take care of everything. Illinois Bell. People working to serve you.
Jack Drees from Champaign-Urbana. And we had us a lively first half. And as I mentioned, at courtside, featuring that Pekin press, which has been giving Carbondale a very rough time of it. Matter of fact, when you can double team an offensive team in their own backcourt, you've got quite a press going. Scoring in that first half of play certainly featured Fred Miller, who has set new career scoring records for Pekin, and he made 18 points in the first half. Otherwise, things were pretty balanced. Tommy Vucic and Barry Moran each had 4. Mike Freitinger had 6. Doug Jones had 2. For Carbondale, L.C. Brasfield, who put in that two-pointer with 3 seconds to go in their overtime struggle earlier this afternoon to get in the finals, is the leading scorer thus far. He's got 8 points recorded. Ken Lewis, the little backcourt man and fancy dribbler, has 3. Phil Gilbert has 4, Bill Perkins has 6, and Early Laster has 2. It was a 17-16 ball game at the end of the first quarter with Carbondale out in front. 34-23 is the score at halftime. There will be some adjustments made by Carbondale, I am sure, because they are plotting deep thoughts right now to get through that thus far devastating Pekin press. The game was going on a one-point basis until Pekin was able to break it open with some combinations of quick baskets and a free throw. Now, as I make my way back to courtside to bring you the second half of this championship game, Bob Starr and Jim Boland have gone into the crowd to find some of the vitally interested fans of the two teams still in contention for the championship. To find out how some of these people feel about the outcome, let's switch first to Bob Starr.
The two people with me have more than a passing interest in this ball game because this is Mrs. Gilbert of Carbondale, the mother of Phil Gilbert of the Carbondale Terriers, and Mr. Martin of Pekin, the father of Dave Martin of the Pekin Chinks. And you were saying a while ago you didn't think you'd ever really be nervous after following this Carbondale ball club all season long. They've been a come-from-behind outfit, huh?
Yes, they have. And I never give up until the last second.
You're pretty proud of that boy, aren't you?
I certainly am.
They've
I'm
played
proud
some
of the
fine
whole
basketball.
team.
Well, they've done an outstanding job, Mrs. Gilbert. Mr. Martin, your son came up with a tremendous ball game this afternoon to take up a lot of needed slack for that win. It must make you pretty happy.
Real proud.
Have you followed them all season long, home and away?
Home and away.
Haven't missed a ball game?
Well, yes, I missed a few.
Do you get a little nervous in these kind of games?
No.
Ms. Gilbert, Mr. Martin, thank you both. Congratulations on your sons and the ball clubs, and thank you both for coming by. Now, here's Jim Boland with two more fans, one backing each team.
Here are two very interested fans in this ball game, Bob. This is Betty Harwood of the Pekin Cheerleaders and Diane George of the Carbondale Cheerleaders. And I understand you go with Mark Freidinger. Is that right, Betty?
Yes.
I guess you were a bit worried a while ago when Mark came over to the bench and had a little cut over the eye.
Yes.
Huh? Well, your ball club is a fired-up ball club right now with an 11-point lead, and that, I guess, accounts for that beautiful smile on your face. Huh? You're holding your voice pretty well.
Mostly because of our team.
I see. And Diane George, the young lady from Carbondale, also dates one of the ball players on the Carbondale Terriers, Mr. Wallace, I believe. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
How long have you been a cheerleader?
Well, I've been a cheerleader ever since I've been in high school, and I was also one in grade school.
Are you a senior this year?
Yes, this is my last year.
Your voice isn't holding up so well.
No, I haven't had one since the Benton game.
Well, you've had a tough season. Thank you both very much, girls. Now Bob Starr has two more people he'd like to introduce. Bob?
These two lovely ladies are coaches' wives, and it's not a very enviable position to be in right now. This is Mrs. John Cherry, the coach of Carbondale's wife, Mrs. Dawson Hawkins, Dottie Hawkins' wife of Pekin. Miss Cherry, your husband is retiring after this game tonight, win or lose. How does this make you feel?
Well, it'll be a little bit of a relief.
Try to get him back home, huh?
Yes, that's right.
Dottie Hawkins' wife is not only a basketball widow, but a golf widow. And how is it having your son playing for the husband? Is that a difficult time around home sometimes?
Yes, it is. It makes me doubly nervous, Bob.
You're awfully proud of these fellows, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Miss Cherry, they've come a long way, and I know you're awfully proud of them.
Oh, we sure are.
Ladies, may the best team win, or the better team win. Enjoy yourselves. I hope you enjoy the second half. Thank you both for being with me. Now, back to Tournament Central.
Well, it's almost time for the second half of the championship game to get underway. Jack Dries is on his way to game side to bring it to you. Here's Illinois Bell's trimline girl, Jackie Walker, with a message for the ladies in our audience.
One of the first decisions to make when you order a phone is where to install it. Well, with the new trimline phone, the answer is almost anywhere. You see, the dial comes to you, so you can make a call right where you are. That's why the new trimline phone fits in wherever it's most convenient. And since the dial is in the receiver, you could have your trimline phone installed under a kitchen cabinet, or in that small space between the wall and your refrigerator, or perhaps on the shelf under your night table to save space on top. For wherever you install the trimline phone, the dial always comes to you. For all the facts on the new trimline phone, including color and cost, call your service representative at the Illinois Bell Business Office. Put the phone of the future in the palm of your hand with either touch tone or regular dial.
Well, you see the situation at the moment. It's halftime in this tremendous state tournament with Pekin out in front 34-23. But since Carbondale has been particularly noted from coming from off the pace to win, this game is by no means over. And Carbondale, perhaps more than any team I've ever seen, is a team that can hold their poise when they're down in a ball game and keep pecking away until suddenly one looks around and finds the game is all evened up. Pekin had a rather notable achievement, Bob, in the second quarter. As tight as that defense was, they did not commit a single foul. They committed 6 in the first quarter and didn't have a call called against them.
Jack, they play that pressure defense awfully well, don't you think? They really keep the pressure, and they kept the pressure on Carbondale, and Carbondale had some trouble getting that ball up across the line.
Well, it really is the first time I've ever seen a team taking the ball out of bounds in their back court, go into a screen to be able to get it just in bounds. And that was a Carbondale tactic, which was really necessitated when they started to come back there and literally double-team the men trying to get the ball up the court.
They have utilized Billy Perkins to break that timber press and bring him out. Possibly this is what they'll do here in the second half, a little more regularity. Speaking of the foul difficulty.
Wait a minute, out on the court, up there near the right, see that little cluster around the free throw line? It looks like Fred Miller has lost a contact lens. Seems to me we had about a 10-minute set with that yesterday.
Right.
Was it Barry Moran?
Barry Moran.
Barry Moran had lost it. But fortunately, that one didn't bounce and roll around. This is the Carbondale team in the black warm-up jackets. They've got some coming behind to do. They're down 11 points here at halftime. But they've been well able to do it. And actually, they've been 8-9 points down with a good bit less to play. So we are expecting a surge from Carbondale just about any time. They're two really splendid teams. They handle the ball well. Exceptionally well grounded in the fundamentals of both offensive and defensive play. Very difficult for a player to get a cinch shot. They play good position basketball. Keep you away from the percentage shots. Now the teams get over to the sidelines. We have 2 quarters of play to go to decide the state champion for 1967. The game of their lives for the youngsters on these two teams. We look down now as Pekin strips out of their warm-up jackets. Pekin shot at an even 500% in that first half of play, hitting 14 out of 28. Carbondale with 11 of 25, hit at a 4:40 pace. Good shooting by both teams. Pekin getting a few more and making a slightly higher percentage. Now we're ready to go with the second half of play. Tom Alexander ready to flip it up. And Fred Miller gets the tip. Gives it to Pekin. Kreidinger going in, loses track of the ball. He has his head completely bandaged now to give a little firmer protection to that damaged right eye. Pekin still in possession. Barry Moran, double teamed in the corner, has trouble getting it out, but finally releases to the backcourt. Fred Miller's turnaround hook rolls over the front of the hoop and in. 20 points for Fred Miller. 36-23 now the score in the game, favor of Pekin. Carbondale with the ball now. Really the first chance they've had at the basket here in this second half. Underneath, Laster on a turnaround jump makes it. 36-25, 4 points for early Laster. Pekin strives by Doug Jones, rebounded by Miller. He puts it through as he is fouled. Basket counts, foul on Phil Gilbert. 22 points, 4 personals on Gilbert. That gets things a little tense there. Fred Miller at the line has 22. There's 23. 39 for Pekin, 25 for Carbondale. We're early in the third quarter of play. Bill Perkins trying to draw a foul, but not quite fooling the referee with his dramatics. Laster in the corner. Feeds to Bill Perkins, who hits it. Basket by Perkins makes it 39-27, favor of Pekin. 8 points for Bill Perkins. Kreidinger lets go from far out in front, and the rebound is batted back and is still in possession of Pekin. Doug Jones in the corner. Shot is no good. He traveled as he was getting into position to let her go. Score holds at 39-27. Pekin over Carbondale. 6:15 left to play in the third quarter of the game. Carbondale looking for that spurt. Tough to come by against this determined Pekin press. From the side, 2 points for Brassfield. 39-29 is now the score. That's 10 for Brassfield in the game. Fred Miller drives in, gets loose, and puts up 2 more. 29. 25 points for Fred Miller. And with the score, Pekin 41, Carbondale 29. Carbondale takes timeout in the third quarter. Here's Jim Boland.
Thanks, Jack. I want to remind our viewers that following this final game of the 1967 tournament, we'll have coverage of the trophy presentation. It's truly a beautiful trophy, and this is it, the trophy that the champions will take back to their school. Stay with us following this final game when you'll be on the scene for the dramatic presentation of this trophy. Now let's get back to the game.
The cheerleaders are on the sidelines. Time is still out. The 60th Illinois High School Association basketball tournament is being brought to you by your friends and neighbors at Illinois Bell Telephone. 2 second quarter spurts by Pekin pushed them out in front. They made 6 points without interruption by Carbondale. Then came back for 4 more in the second quarter. Finish up that second quarter with a 34-23 halftime lead. It's now 41-29. Carbondale with the ball. Bill Gilbert. Bill Perkins releases back to Ken Lewis, back to Gilbert once again. And as the pass goes for Lewis, Doug Jones intercepts. He's got a gift. 43-29. 4 points for Doug Jones. And Pekin is out in front, 43-29. 5:10 remaining, and Breidinger gets this one on another Pekin steal, and the game is blowing up. 45-29, 8 points for Breidinger, and Carbondale calls for another timeout. Bob, that press is beginning to baffle Carbondale.
It is doing that, Jack. I was going to comment about that. They're defensing him way out near that mid-court mark and really making it tough for Carbondale to even get down in decent scoring position. It's been difficult for Carbondale. The last 2 steals are a tremendously frustrating thing for a ball club as they want to try to bring the ball down. And here's 2 steals in a row. This has to have a demoralizing effect on a ball club. And Carbondale, likewise, is a good pressure defense type ball club. But this Pekin outfit, they've really hustled on this defense in the ball game so far. And there's no reason to believe they're not going to keep it up. Just put as much pressure as they possibly can, as far away from the bucket as they possibly can.
Yes, when they make a steal, they're halfway home. Carbondale now to take the ball out of bounds. Brassfield has it in the corner, spins clear, and travels as he is spinning. It'll go to Pekin. Breidinger operating as the quarterback in the backcourt. There's the shot by Doug Jones, and it's 47-29 and 6 points for Jones. Bill Perkins not across the center line yet. There, the ball gets across. Blaster feeds off to Perkins. Perkins bobbled the ball in the air, then got the shot away only to miss it. And here comes Pekin on a 3-on-1 fast break. Pass behind Doug Jones. He couldn't reach back and control the ball. So it's a break for Carbondale as they take it out of bounds. Carbondale with the ball in the backcourt. Terry Wallace and Ken Lewis working together back there. Wallace with it now. Laster goes high in the air. Fadeaway jump is home. Peaches Laster gets it. 47-31, 6 points for Laster. Mark Breidinger with a long jumper. Scramble for the rebound. Barry Moran comes up with it. His attempt to shoot is blocked by Bill Perkins, and they will go to a jump ball situation at the free throw line. Carbondale gets it. 47-31 in favor of Pekin. 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. As we're down to the end of the road, the final game for the state championship of Illinois. Another steal by Pekin. Doug Jones getting the ball. And the one-handed jump is short, attempted by Dave Martin. Carbondale with the rebound as Bill Perkins clears the board, gives it over to Terry Wallace, who brings it up the court. Pekin is releasing the pressure just a bit on Carbondale now on the press. They're coming back a little deeper, taking a breather in this game with a commanding lead. As that high pass came for Laster, he was fouled by Dave Martin. And it's going to be a timeout called for Pekin. That's the first foul for Dave Martin. 47-31, 2 minutes and 46 seconds left to play as Pekin has that lead in the third quarter. And the Pekin cheerleaders take the floor. Now the Carbondale team breaks from their huddle around the bench to get out on the court. Pekin is having a remarkable foul-free defense for as much pressure as they put on. They committed no personal fouls in the second quarter. They haven't committed any yet in the third quarter until that one came along. Laster's free throw attempt is short. Barry Moran gets it for Pekin. Score holding at 47-31, favor of Pekin. Pekin working with it in the backcourt. And Mark Freidinger lets a high looper go. It's high off the rim. And it was last touched by Terry Wallace of Carbondale, so it still belongs to Pekin. They'll bring it in from out of bounds. Freidinger over to Martin. Ball into the corner to Barry Moran. He can't find anyone to throw to. Gets it out of the backcourt away from the pressure once again. And Barry Moran has that ball trapped by Bill Perkins as he tries to get a shot away, and it'll be a jump ball. Phil Gilbert is coming in. Early Laster is going out. Tip controlled by Carbondale. Terry Wallace trying to move down the sidelines. Gets away from the pressure again. There's a feed to Bill Perkins underneath. That took a while, but it finally dropped in. 47-33. 10 points for Bill Perkins. Pekin out in front. 47-33. And that one is home. Fred Miller gets 27 points now. And it's 49-33 favor of Pekin. What's the call? Foul call on number 15, Brasfield. Offensive foul. Pekin will take it out of bounds. And Doug Jones lets one go from the side. It's rebounded underneath by Barry Moran, who puts it in. 6 points for Moran. 51 to Pekin, 33 for Carbondale. Brasfield on a layup puts it through the hoop. That'll count. He was fouled by Barry Moran, so he has a chance at a three-pointer. It's 2 personals on Moran. 12 points for Brasfield. He has a chance for his 13th. And has it. Pekin 51, Carbondale 36. Pekin with the ball. 50 seconds left to play in the third quarter. There's a long heave by Freidinger. 53-36, 10 points for Freidinger. Not only is Pekin tough on defense, but their hitting from outside is a very discouraging thing, no matter what kind of defense you put up against them. You clog up the middle, they rain them in from 15, 20 feet away. And Ken Lewis has a shot and makes it good. That's 5 points for Ken Lewis. It's 53-38 Pekin, and Fred Miller has chalked up another 2. 29 points for Fred Miller. 55-38 is the score in the ball game. Favor of Pekin as Carbondale drives. Brassfield lays it in. 15 points for Brassfield. 55 for Pekin. 40 for Carbondale. And there is the end of the third quarter. The horn sounds and the players move off the court. 55-40 is the score. Pekin out in front with one more quarter of play. Pekin to a 15-point lead. Carbondale, famed this year for their great come-from-behind finishes, have really got some coming from behind to do this time.
Jack, they have their work cut out for them now. They're down by 15 right now going into this final 8 minutes of play. Peaches Laster checked back into the ball game, so that'll give them the 2 big horses underneath the bucket again. But one outstanding feature, as you mentioned earlier, it's so demoralizing. Regardless what defense Carbondale has used, they've been able to hit the bucket, either an outside or break somebody free with some good, sharp, crisp passing down the middle of that lane.
As we talk, you begin to wonder how Carbondale could have a chance, but we know from past experience that they've got a big chance. They're a tough ball club with a lot of poise. Well, there's the story. 8 minutes remaining to crown the state champion from 1967. The tremendous pressure-packed basketball that has brought these two fine teams to this point. And now the moment of decision is at hand. Carbondale awaiting, Pekin coming out. Here we go. This is the end of the line. The last quarter of play, and Carbondale gets the tip. Ken Lewis now in the backcourt whips it into Brassfield, who's been their principal scoring threat. Gilbert feeds to Laster. Laster underneath to Perkins. Perkins can't go to the basketball, and the scramble results in the jump ball is Fred Miller. Reaches down to get hold of it. Fred Miller and Bill Perkins now jumping at the free throw line. And it'll be another jump ball. Laster and Barry Moran tangle for this one. Moran number 44, Laster number 53 in the black uniform. Perkins takes the tip and stuffs it in. 55-42. 12 points for Perkins. The long attempt by Freidinger is rebounded by Laster, and Carbondale has possession again. Carbondale desperately needing a few baskets in a row. Ken Lewis in the backcourt looking for some way to set up an opening. Phil Gilbert tries from the side. Brassfield comes in, going after the rebound, is fouled by Barry Moran. Brassfield now will go to the free throw line. 3 fouls on Moran. 6:56 left to play in the final quarter of the game. This championship game of the high school basketball tournament being brought to you by the men and women of Illinois Bell Telephone. Brassfield hits for his 16th point. It's 55-43. Doug Jones feeds to Fred Miller. There's a man loose underneath in Barry Moran, and he has 2. 57-43, 8 points for Barry Moran. And now Pekin is renewing the full pressure press. They had relaxed it a bit when they got out into a lengthy lead. They're back at work once more. Laster underneath. He has 2 points. 57-45. 8 points for Peaches Laster. Busich going in. The eventual rebound comes to Bill Perkins. Carbondale has it once more. And the steal by Fred Miller. Underneath, Freitinger, 2 points. Just when Carbondale was beginning to roll a little bit, the pressure defense paid off. 12 points now for Freitinger. Carbondale has to try and regain the momentum. 59-45, favor of Pekin. Laster, turnaround jump shot. He has to fade away to get clear, but he does. 59-47. Laster now has moved to his 10th point. Here comes Pekin up the court. Carbondale now back in a deep zone. Timeout is called by Pekin. Timeout in the 4th quarter of this championship game with the score Pekin 59, Carbondale 47. Now let's switch to Jim Boland.
This is it, the trophy that the champions will take back to their school. Stay with us following this final game when you'll be on the scene for the dramatic presentation of this trophy. Now let's get back to the game.
Now we're about ready to resume play. The Pekin cheerleaders are finishing up out on the basketball court. The score at the moment is 59-47, favor of Pekin over Carbondale. Thought for a moment, Bob, Carbondale was starting to move.
They picked up some speed and some effort, and they have Peaches Laster back in there, who is having an effective time right now. The last couple of 3 minutes working that one side of the lane. He's not afraid to put the ball up, and even though they converge on him, he'll get his shot away. He was tremendous last night in the last few minutes of play. So this ball game is far from over. We still have 5:24 to go.
Pekin will put the ball in play. Taking it in is Tom Busich. Moran floats over to Freitinger. Now it's back down the right side again. Freitinger feeds into Fred Miller, and it goes off his fingertips to Carbondale as Laster picks it up. Now the backcourt men moving against the press. Bill Gilbert in the corner has 2 points. And now the lead is 10 points. From 16 down to 10 as Carbondale is moving steadily after Pekin. Fred Miller, shot is short, gets the rebound, lets it go, and it's in. Beautiful recovery by Fred Miller. 31 points, 61-49. Laster, fadeaway jump, no goal if it went in. And that foul was against Laster. Pushing back, and that's his 4th personal foul as he got physical trying to get room to shoot. 4 personals for Peaches Laster. 4 minutes and 14 seconds left to play in this one for the big one, the championship of the state. Pekin out in front, and Pekin has the ball. 61-49. Driving attempt by Fred Miller. Fouled as he goes in, and that's the end of Peaches Laster. Laster is fouled out of the game. That's a big man to lose, 6'5". Bill Perkins returns to the contest at 6'9". 61-49 is the score at the moment. Fred Miller at the free throw line. He has it. 62-49. That's 32 points for Fred Miller. We've seen some magnificent individual scoring in these games. Of course, a new tournament scoring record. Miller gets it. Can't get clear to shoot. 62-49. Pekin with a 13-point bulge. Little less than 4 minutes to play. And Carbondale gets the steal. There's Ken Lewis. He has the basket. 7 points for Ken Lewis. 62-51. Pekin up the court as Carbondale, which had dropped back into a deep zone, moves now into the press. Fred Miller's shot is good. 34 points for Fred Miller. A steal by Pekin. Ball comes back to Vucic, and he cans it. Tom Vucic. And it's 66-51. 6 points for Vucic. We're nearing the final 3 minutes. Carbondale with the ball. Brasfield lets it go. Misses, and it's anybody's rebound for a moment. Perkins finally gets it for Carbondale to score. Now it's 66-53 favor of Pekin. 14 points for Perkins. Whistle blows. Whistle blew back here. Timeout was called. Timeout was called. So the score holds at Pekin 66, Carbondale 53, with 2 minutes and 55 seconds left to go in the ball game.
Jack, immediately following the ball game, or after the ball game, I'll be talking with the winning team and the winning coach, whoever it may be here, with 2:55 to go. It's going to be interesting from either coach's standpoint to find out some of their theories going into this final championship game here and the reasons behind some of the things they've done, because they've both played outstanding basketball.
Yes, the defensive variety of Carbondale has been highly noticeable. They move from a press into a deep zone, back into the press again. Of course, the press is just required now. They've got to get the ball. They've got to keep the pressure on, get all the shots they can, and hope that enough of them go in. Pekin stayed in the full court press even after a tough afternoon of doing that. Relaxed for a little while when they got up to about a 16-point lead, but then moved back with the press on the first sign of a Carbondale threat. Now we're ready to go with Pekin in possession. Doug Jones has Barry Moran underneath. The feed to Moran is perfect. It's 2 points and a foul that could make it 3. Foul is on Bill Perkins. Ten points for Barry Moran. That makes it 11 and runs the score to 69-53. Perkins has 4 fouls. Brasfield spinning around, gets loose and dunks it. 69-55. 18 points for L.C. Brasfield. That foul is called on Terry Wallace. That's his second. At the line is Tommy Vucic. 1-and-1 foul situation now in effect. 6 points for Vucic. At the line for Pekin, and he drops it in. So it gets to 70 points. Pekin needs 78 points in this game to tie the team total record in 4 tournament games. And Mark Freidinger caught a rap across the nose as he ran into the arm of Phil Gilbert. Gilbert is over to check that he's all right. They have gotten a bit of a finger in the eye there to make it smart a bit. But he's back at the free throw line ready to go. Got 2 minutes and 1 second left to play in the game. 70-55. Pekin out in front. And that makes it 71. Mark Freidinger dropping the free throw. 13 points for Freidinger. Big Bat keeps the ball in Pekin possession. But Miller goes underneath and drills in 2 more. That's 36 points for Fred Miller. Carbondale calls for a timeout, and it looks like Carbondale is about to concede. They're clearing the bench. Now we pause 10 seconds for station identification. As the Pekin cheerleaders are out on the court, both teams are falling heavily down the substitutes. Jeff Partlow is coming into the ball game for Carbondale. Chuck Taylor, number 55, will see some action. Bob Crane, number 31. Terry Wallace, number 33, in, no, then out. Brassfield is staying in the ball game. And we've had some changes made in the Pekin lineup. Rich Hawkins back in at guard, number 10. Number 22 is Scott Lang. Traveling violation. 1 minute and 42 seconds left to play in the game. Pekin with the ball. They lead 73 to 55. Rich Hawkins to Doug Jones, and as Doug Jones started his move, L.C. Brassfield committed the foul. That's his second personal. Score holding at 73-55, and Doug Jones is at the line. Jump ball. Doug Jones will be jumping with Chuck Taylor. Chuck Taylor at 6'4", Doug Jones at 6'2". Carbondale getting it. And as Jeff Partlow went down for the drive, he lost control of the ball. Out of bounds, belongs to Pekin. Rich Hawkins working the backcourt with John Venturi. One pass across court, and on the attempt by Scott Lang, the ball missed the rim, caught on the fly by Carbondale. 1 minute and 10 seconds left to play in the game. That is going to crown Pekin the state champions for 1967. Foul on Hawkins is his first, and at the free throw line is L.C. Brassfield. $18 points so far for Brassfield. That makes it 19, makes the score 73 to 56. 1 minute and 5 seconds left to play in the game. Doug Jones from the side, over the rim. Underneath, Scott Lang misses, tries it again, and is called for a foul. First personal on Scott Lang. .56 seconds left to play. And the joy is beginning to pop out in the Pekin rooting section. For all the cliffhangers they had, they're having a relatively easy time in the title game. Chuck Taylor making it. Make it 73-57, and he has the bonus shot coming. Brassfield spinning around, puts it through, but he took one step too many, so the basket won't count. It's a traveling call. Pekin takes it out of bounds. Doug Jones feeding off to Scott Lang. His shot is short. Rebound is grabbed by Dave Walls. Carbondale has it with 40 seconds left to play. Brassfield feeds. Chuck Taylor underneath, couldn't get control of the basketball, is called for traveling. Pekin takes it once again. 30 seconds left in this ball game. Rich Hawkins drives as he tries to feed off into the corner. The ball is knocked out of bounds by Carbondale. It'll still belong to Pekin with 26 seconds to go in the game. Turnaround jump by Scott Lang is good. 75-57. 15 seconds. Feet underneath to Chuck Taylor. Does that one count? Basket count. Foul was on Steve Kingdon, number 54. 5 seconds left to play. Scott Lang gets it. Here comes the end of the game. There it is. Boy, there's a happy gang of kids, huh? And the coach, Dawson Hawkins, is getting a ride. Oh, this is a moment of ecstasy when this team, or any team, is crowned the state champion. And Pekin really had to fight every inch of the way. A tremendously conditioned team. They could maintain that full court press. They could conquer any defense with tremendous outside shooting to go with nice pattern work that cleared men underneath the basket. They're a skillful and highly impressive team. Carbondale, which had an overtime battle to get past Rockford this afternoon, finally conquering them 67-66, may have had a little too much taken out of them physically. And now the moment of realization has arrived for the victor to receive tribute as the top-ranking basketball team in the state. Let's join Al Willis, Executive Secretary of the Illinois High School Association, for the presentation of the runner-up and championship trophies for the 60th high school tournament.
For the presentation of the awards and trophies for these two championship teams, Mr. Al Willis, Executive Secretary of the Illinois High School, is in charge of the ceremony. Mr. Willis.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we present the awards to these two fine teams, we would be remiss if we did not express our appreciation to our host, the University of Illinois, to the University Athletic Association, to our coaches, to our officials, and to our fine organist who has helped to make this tournament the very fine one it has been. And now to present the awards is Mr. Carl Nation, the principal of the McLeansboro High School and vice president of the Illinois High School Association. Mr. Nation.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. The second place goes to the Carbondale Terriers from Carbondale, Illinois. Coach John Terry, would you and the people who are to receive these trophies please come forward? Coach Cherry, you have a wonderful ball club. I'm sure that all of those people in the Carbondale, and for that matter, all of Southern Illinois, will be real proud of your accomplishments here. It is my honor at this time to present you with these medals, one of which is for you, and of course one for each of your ball players, which I'm sure you will, all of you, very much treasure. And now, if the ones who are to receive this trophy would please come up here, I'll be glad to give it to them. Well, congratulations. Goes to the Pekin Shanks. For Coach Hawkins, if you would please come forward with your players. Coach Hawkins, if you would please come forward. We have for you these medals, one for you and one for each of your players, which I'm sure that you will treasure very much. Congratulations on a wonderful ball club. I also notice that the record shows that this is the 13th time that the Pekin Shanks have entered this state tournament. Also notice that it was won in 1964 by this same club, and I would like to congratulate you on that as well as this time. And now with my congratulations, the first place trophy for the state tournament.
Hold it up here, baby.
Our congratulations to these two fine teams and to all of you. Now we say good night to you. Drive home carefully. We'd like to see all of you back next year. Good night.
And the pictures go on as Pekin proudly poses with a championship that means it all. Now I'm going to Tournament Central so that I can give you a summary on that championship game. Then Bob Starr will have an interview for you with the coach and the team members of the championship group. But first, let's take a look at a new service just being introduced by Illinois Bell.
They call it Trimline. I call it terrific. Have a look at the easiest way to phone.
Do you ever stretch to call a number? For you, here's Trimline.
It's the easiest way to phone.
It's all right here in the palm of your hand.
The easiest way to phone.
Relax, lean back.
The easiest way to phone.
Even in the dark.
The easiest way to phone. The easiest way to phone.
No room for a phone? Put it way under there. Bring it out, dial it.
It's the easiest way to phone.
Want to call again? Push the button. Now call again.
The easiest way to phone.
Available in either touch tone or regular dial. To find out about colors and costs, call your Illinois Bell service representative at the business office. Put the phone of the future in the palm of your hand.
It's the easiest way to phone.
Jim Bolin and I'll have the summary of the championship game in a moment, then we'll be joining Bob Starr for an interview with the 1967 state champions. First, I'd like to remind you that this marks the 16th year Illinois Bell Telephone has brought you this great event on television. And over the years, your comments and criticisms have been very helpful. We certainly hope you'll drop us a line this year to let us know how you think we've done. Just drop us a letter or card, send it to Illinois Bell, Box B, Chicago, Illinois. That's Illinois Bell, Box B, Chicago, Illinois. Now, Jim and I'll get into the summary on the championship game.
Jack, it looks to me like the Pekin just beat Carbondale at their own game with a ball-hawking press that resulted in a a number of turnovers and a number of interceptions that paid off with scoring plays. And Pekin, of course, was very strong on the boards, and Miller was the complete ball player tonight. And I think Pekin's ability to maintain that hot shooting pace that they had, especially their combination of outside shooters and Miller in close under the basket, just spelled the difference. They're a superior ball club.
Yes, I've got to be a little sympathetic with Carbondale, too, when they went through that overtime, pressure-packed ordeal this afternoon. I think Carbondale was getting physically tired by the end of that game, with a good bit more physical pressure having been placed on them today than was true of Pekin, which is taking nothing away from Pekin. That is some basketball team. I don't care what defense you put against them, they're going to score.
That's right. And Carbondale, of course, this has been the story of their tournament history this year, of coming from behind in almost every ball game in order to get here, you know.
And I think when
apparently they just it took a lot of them out of them in that final ball game this afternoon, physically.
Just couldn't seem to get going. I thought they were making a move once, and then Pekin come back and pop away, and that was it. Let's take a look at that scoring, Jim. For the victorious Pekin team, Fred Miller got 36 big ones, 36 points. Next in line was Mark Freidinger with 13. Barry Moran had 11. Tom Busich had 7. Doug Jones had 6. And Scott Lang had 2. For Carbondale, Bill Perkins had 14. L.C. Brasfield was the leader with 19. Ken Lewis picked up 7. Phil Gilbert 6. Early Laster 10. And Chuck Taylor 3. The matter of personal fouls was a critical one, I believe, as demonstrating the expertness of the defensive abilities of Pekin. They recorded 6 personal fouls early in the game, the first quarter, but then they went without a foul with that tough pressing defense, didn't commit a single personal in the second quarter, only 2 in the third quarter, and as relaxed as they were, they didn't get sloppy. They committed only 4 in the final quarter, and some of those were by the substitutes coming in, just getting a little tournament experience. So the final score again was 75-59. Pekin, as a matter of fact, missing by 3 points, tying the tournament team scoring record. And now to meet the 1967 champions, let's switch to Bob Starr.
These are the champs, the 1967 Illinois State High School basketball champion, Pekin Chinks. Let's go around and give you a chance to meet these fellas. This is Barry Moran, stuck around here in the corner. Young junior. Barry, fine effort, tremendous ball game for you fellas. This is the young guy that did a lot of scoring. Didn't have too good an afternoon because he was busy playing defense earlier in the day, but you came back strong. Fred, real good ball game.
Thank you.
How's it feel to be a champion?
Great.
Huh?
Great.
Been waiting a long time for this, about 3 years?
3 years.
This fellow looks like he should step out of a painting of 1776 playing a fife and drum or something. Mark, you had a pretty rough evening.
It's pretty rough.
This is Mark Freidinger. Most of these fellows know the young fellow here, whose name I'm not sure of.
Scott Lang.
Scott Lang, right, Scott. A substitute, but still a tremendous effort. What are you? A junior?
Junior.
Junior? You'll get to come back next year, maybe, huh? Tommy Busich, nice going.
Thank you.
Tremendous effort.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy this one sitting down for a while? You got in quite a bit, spent a little time sitting down? Gives you a chance to kind of get a good perspective of the ball game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was a great thrill for me.
Steve Kingdon had his points in this tournament. How you doing, Steve?
Real great. No.
Pretty good, huh? Not too bad. This is the coach's son. This is not Dottie Hawkins' son. This happens to be Joe Venturi's son. John, nice going.
Thanks.
You got to play quite a bit?
Yeah.
You think your brother up in Northwestern might have been watching this?
Yeah, he was down here.
Was he?
Yeah.
Pretty proud of you, huh?
I hope so.
Young fella here had himself a day. Doug Jones, some good defense, scoring a little bit. Must feel pretty good.
I feel great.
Here's the fella that had the great afternoon ball game to pick up the slack when they ran into some trouble, scoring a little bit. Nice going, Dave. Dave Martin, whose dad I talked with at halftime. He's pretty proud of you. He's got a right to be. This young fella here is the only guy on the ball club that dares do anything better than his coach. This happens to be Dottie Hawkins' son, Rich, and he plays better golf than his dad and gets away with it. Rich, nice going.
Thank you very much.
Kind of culmination of the dream, huh?
Yes, it
Just
is.
make living at home with Pop a lot easier?
Much
easier, right? Two guys that have a tremendous amount of respect on this ball club and have done a great job, Bob Ortego and Joe Venturi. And I know Dottie, if he were here, and he's coming in now, couldn't say enough about the assistant's job. Bob, a tremendous job.
It's a dream come true, Robert. We're really proud, and our fans are tremendous, and these kids are great. And I'll tell you, there's not a better coach in the country than Dottie Hawkins.
This fella here, Ken Chunky, he looks like a football player. He's a football coach. This is Joe Venturi, the head football coach, who spends his spare time assisting in basketball. Joe, You must have done some tremendous scouting for this ball club this year.
I don't know how much, but I'll tell you this. I'm so proud of these kids, and we think we got the greatest community and the greatest group of kids and administration, and we think we have the finest basketball coach in the nation, bar none. And we're just so happy to happen to a community 2 out of the last 4 years. It's just tremendous.
Would you introduce me to these young fellows here in the Red Blazers, who are your team helpers and managers?
This is Clark Joesting, one of our senior managers.
It's a pretty good job for you, was it? To make the free ride and get a little work in without getting in a ball game?
Great.
Did you work up a sweat?
Yeah.
How about this fellow next to you? Who is this? Young fellows here in the Red Blazers, who are your team helpers and managers.
This is Clark Joesting, one of our